It is my great pleasure this morning to welcome you to historic Oakland Cemetery for this incredibly special occasion, the ribbon cutting of Oakland's historic African American burial grounds. Founded in 1850, Oakland Cemetery was a place for all of the city's dead, but crucially was a segregated burial ground for enslaved and free African Americans until the 1960s. Established in 1866, this section of the cemetery is home to more than 12,000 entrepreneurs, educators, ministers, physicians, and other prominent and everyday citizens who have helped shape the rich history of our city and build it from the ground up. From the founders of some of our city's leading institutions, such as Morris Brown College, Big Bethel AME Church, and the Carrie Steele Pitts Home, to individuals whose impact is perhaps less well known. Their legacies and contributions live on and inspire us to continue their work. And today we honor the legacy of these 12,000 Black Atlantans and the impact they had on our city. In keeping with the systemic underinvestment in facilities for Black Americans that deliberately neglected ongoing care, record keeping, or infrastructure needs, Oakland's historic African American burial grounds in a low-lying, flood-prone area of the cemetery was significantly ignored until Historic Oakland Foundation's restoration efforts began in 2016. Ground-penetrating radar found evidence of 800 previously unknown burials. Our preservation team uncovered stones, monuments, walls previously hidden by decades of erosion and flooding. And our gardeners have found ways to incorporate the rich history of Black gardens and horticulture into the landscape restoration of the area. It has truly been our greatest honor and privilege to preserve and restore this vital part of our city's history. Through all of this work, we have literally been able to uncover the past and add greater nuance and understanding to how we, as Atlantans, understand ourselves, how we've arrived at this particular moment in time, and how we plan for the next 175 years of our city's history in more just and equitable ways. The restoration of Oakland's historic African American section has provided new context for us at the Historic Oakland Foundation to share with our over 100,000 visitors per year. And as we currently undertake our first ever capital campaign to make the single largest investment in Oakland ever and build new facilities that will allow us to bring more people together to learn from the past, to come to greater communal understandings, we draw on the legacies of the stories of those buried in this section to reaffirm that we embrace the opportunity to acknowledge, examine, share, and learn from the lessons of the past. This restoration is also part of Historic Oakland Foundation's ongoing commitment to engaging with the communities of Oakland through descendants and partners to uplift and document, study, and share the stories and lessons of the past. Okay. In addition to marking the completion of this restoration project, today we are proud to announce the launch of an oral history project to collect the stories and document the legacies of those buried in the historic African American burial grounds, in partnership with our friends at the Atlanta History Center and Sweet Auburn Works. This project will continue to allow us to elevate the voices and stories of those buried here in Oakland for generations to come, as Historic Oakland Foundation expands its educational and programmatic and community programming in the coming years. I'd be remiss this morning, however, if I didn't mention some of the many thousands of people who have made this restoration project possible, especially the HOF team members who work tirelessly to restore and continue to now maintain these grounds. Director of Preservation Ashley Shares and her preservationists, Director of Horticulture Sarah Henderson and her team of gardeners, as well as the more than 300 Oakland volunteers, all who have spent blood, sweat, and tears to make this special area so beautiful. As with all of our work at the Historic Oakland Foundation, collaboration and partnership is at the core of what we do. We are deeply grateful to our council member, Liliana Bakhtiari, the staff of the Department of Parks and Rec, including Commissioner Dargle, Doug Voss, Alvin Dodson, and especially Oakland Cemetery, Sam Reed, as well as all of the many others in the city. Thank you. As well as the many others in the city who work so tirelessly to support Atlanta's oldest public green space and, frankly, best park. Historic preservation and restoration is expensive and labor-intensive work, And all of what we do at Oakland, especially this project, was made possible with the philanthropic support and generosity of literally thousands of donors, While I wish that I could name them all here today, to express our gratitude for making this possible, I'd especially like to note the generous support of the Historic Oakland Foundation Board, the City of Atlanta, the Georgia Pacific Foundation, the Waterfall Foundation, the Georgia Power Foundation, the T.W. Marion Otley Fund, Steve Brooks, the National Trust for Historic Preservation, Virginia and Tom Gossage, Kelly Jordan, Ben Clark, the Talia and Michael C. Carlos Foundation, the Ida Alice Ryan Charitable Trust, the Emily Winship Scott Foundation, May B. and Hal Hollis, and Jerry and Vivian Gowitt. We could literally not have done this work without theirs and many thousands of people's incredible support to preserve and share Atlanta's history. Thank you all. Now, we have a rich and wonderful program for you this morning to mark this auspicious and grand occasion. And to get us started, it is my very great pleasure to welcome, on behalf of our partners in the Department of Parks and Recreation, Deputy Commissioner Alvin Dodson.
Good morning. Welcome. What a wonderful day we have here today. I'm Alvin Dodson, Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Parks and Recreation. And as we approach Juneteenth, when countless events will be held across the city and nation to commemorate the final announcement of African American emancipation, the timing of this celebration could not be more appropriate. These grounds are sacred. They hold the remains of many who could only dream of freedom, and now we are the beneficiaries. Regardless of color, ethnicity, culture, or belief, we're living their dreams, hopes, and prayers. That alone is worthy of celebration. This fiscal year, the Department of Parks and Recreation adopted a comprehensive master plan known as Activate ATL. This plan provides clear vision for Atlanta's parks and recreation programs over the next 10 years. Paper sticks together. The quality of our parks is essential to the community, which is why equity is at the center of our efforts. Our goal is to provide Atlanta's quality parks and programs regardless of zip code. Thanks to community input, we've taken a deep dive into Atlanta's park history and the historical inequities that many areas have endured due to systemic injustices. We aim to fix that. We don't shy away from it, we share it, and we build upon it. And with the help of great partners like the Historic Oakland Foundation, we're creating a brighter and cleaner future. Bakhtiari is one of Atlanta's most beloved parks, with a rich history and tranquil serenity. Partnership between the Historic Oakland Foundation and the Department of Parks and Recreation is the epitome of an effective public-private partnership that combines public investments, philanthropic support to benefit public green spaces. Richard, Sam, and members of the Historic Oakland Foundation, we commend you on this outstanding project. Thank you very much. At this time, please join me in welcoming to the podium Atlanta's 61st mayor, the Honorable Mayor Andre Dickens.
Wow, what an introduction. We're the Pinstripe Brothers today. Pinstripe Brothers, that's all right. Good morning, everybody. Isn't this a fantastic day in Atlanta? I think it's an only Atlanta type day. Only in Atlanta. This is a beautiful morning to be able to be here in this park, in this cemetery that is indeed alive. And Dr. Harker, I know you must work around here a lot, because if I sat in the cemetery and something gently touched me on the back of my neck, a flag, you didn't flinch. I'm not about to be on camera and have something in the cemetery gently touch me on my neck and y'all get my reaction on camera. I'm gonna move. Yeah, I'm gonna move to your seat if it keeps touching me. So, thank you, Commissioner Dodson, for that introduction, and Dr. Harker for all that you do here, and Sam and the whole team. We're here today in the city that was the cradle of the civil rights movement and is now the heartbeat of a diverse America as the nation prepares to mark on this Juneteenth, National Independence Day. This is the second annual. We've had Juneteenth a long time, but it's the second time there's been a national holiday, and it is fitting that we are here today in this sacred space, still learning, still growing from Atlanta's complicated but very rich past. There's so much of our city's history right here. And a lot of it is African American history, as has been communicated earlier by Dr. Harker. And some of it we know, some of this history we know, and some of it we are learning and we may never know. But we know that we are at the final resting place of Bishop Wesley John Gaines, a former slave and Big Bethel AME pastor, and a Morris Brown founder, Dr. James. Carrie Steele Logan, the former slave who opened Atlanta's first orphanage for African Americans, she rests here as well. And so does Mary Woolfolk Taylor, one of the founders of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. The city's first black dentist, Dr. Roderick Badger, is here too. And of course, Oakland Cemetery is the final resting place for the city's first African-American mayor, the Honorable Maynard Jackson. And it's great to be here today in the company of Valerie Jackson. And it's great to also be in the presence of these great council members that help make this come true as well. Councilmember Bakhtiari, Councilmember Lewis, and Councilmember Winston that are all here today. And I'm just grateful for this opportunity. Like I said, so much of our history is here in Oakland's burial grounds. The city of Atlanta's investment in this history and its lessons are ongoing. I am thrilled that Oakland's roadways are included in our recently passed referenda that was to move Atlanta forward. That bond passed, and these roads are going to be the beneficiaries of that, and we, as people who come visit here often, will be able to see that improvement. It is vital that we continue to make major investments in our important public spaces. That's what we have here in Atlanta. And so I'm glad to see Dr. James here from Morris Brown as we revitalize and reimagine that institution, and as we do so here at Oakland Cemetery, as we do all these things across Atlanta in our park system, in our universities, and across the city, we are becoming richer and richer each and every day as we reflect on our past and as we move Atlanta forward. Because these spaces and our shared history, they will help bring people together and help us form a more beloved community. So I thank you all, and now I bring up Councilmember Bakhtiari. Thank you.
You had to move it up. I have to move the mic down. Every time I come up after Mayor Dickens, I'm aware of just how short I am. So first of all, thank you all so much for being here. My name is Liliana Bakhtiari. I'm the council member for District 5. There isn't much for me to say that hasn't already been said. I stand on the shoulders of great people that came before me, and I have the honor of holding a position that holds a lot of historical significance in a district that holds a lot of historical significance. And quite frankly, I did not do anything to make this exceptional thing happen, but I get to stand up here and support you in all the work that you do, and I'm honored to do so. I will never take credit for this. I will simply say that I am honored to always be here as a supporter and carry forth the incredible work being done here. And as you've already said, this is significant because of the Juneteenth holiday, because of the fact that within this cemetery, we hold a lot of diverse, sometimes problematic, but very, very, very complex history. And one of the things I appreciate about Oakland is that, and the history markers that you see here, there is no shying away from the mistakes that have been made. Everything is said openly and honestly. And one of the things I love most about this, that people ask me, how do you feel about the Confederate monuments? And I always say, I have no interest in waging wars against dead men, but I love making them turn in their grave. And this here today is something that has been in the works for a long, long time. 5 years, I believe, and I can't be more excited that Richard Harker is the executive director of this incredible foundation, that we have amazing leaders here. Yeah, you can clap for him. He's wonderful. That we have our wonderful Parks Department, that I get to do this under an extraordinary mayor, and in the presence of incredible people that have done incredible work far longer than I've been around. I have been coming to Oakland Cemetery since I was a teenager. Sometimes not during opening hours, but it's okay. We wrote into the SPLOS that if you try that after hours, you get tased if you try to go over the fence. So we'll put those in. But I have been coming here for the longest time, and I live just down the street, and this incredible place has been a marker of history that's always taught me a lot. And I am so honored that we're here to celebrate the incredible accomplishments of Black history, because quite frankly, any progress that has been made in the city happens on the shoulders of the Black predecessors that came before us. But I hope this is also a signal, with Juneteenth around the corner, that we also celebrate our Black present and our Black futures and the accomplishments that are soon to come. Again, I'm honored to be here today, and I'm sweating from my eyeballs, but I will stay here the entire program. And again, thank y'all for letting me be a part of this. It is extraordinary, and I can't wait to continue to support the work that you all do. Thank y'all so much.
Well, it's a highway to heaven. None can walk up there but the pure in heart. Well, it's a highway to heaven, walking up the King's highway. Well, it's a highway to heaven. None can walk up there but the pure in heart. Well, it's a highway to heaven, walking up the King's highway. Well, it's a highway to heaven. None can walk up there but the pure in heart. Well, it's a highway to heaven, walking up the King's highway. Well, it's a highway to heaven. None can walk up there but the pure in heart. Well, it's a highway to heaven, walking up the King's. Walking up the King's. Walking up the King's. Walking up the King's. Walking up the King's highway. I'm gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, study war no more. I'm gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more, 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 study war no more.
Good morning. Oh, we can do better than that. Good morning. Thank you so much to the Big Bethel AME Church Choir. Thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful selection. My name is Dr. Kevin James, and I am honored to serve as the 19th president of Morris Brown College. Thank you so much. Georgia's first and only historical black college that was founded by African Americans back in 1881. Today is absolutely a beautiful day because it really brings home for me personally how real God is. When I interviewed 3 years ago to be the president of Morris Brown College, I contacted my mentors and I said, listen, I have an interview to be the president of Morris Brown College. What do you think about that? And several of my mentors said to me, Kevin, are you crazy? Don't you know that no black college has ever rebounded after a 20-year hiatus, after bankruptcy, after flood, rain, fire, after losing our students, after losing our reputation? But I am here today to proclaim that dead bones can live again. It is so ironic because as I was preparing to interview to be the president of Morris Brown College, I looked up the history of the institution and I ran across this name, Bishop Wesley John Gaines. And I found out that he was buried right here in Atlanta, Georgia. God is real. I came to this cemetery and sat on that very bench right there and meditated on the task at hand. And it was like Bishop Gaines was talking to me and speaking to me and saying, if we as former slaves could start an institution back in 1881, you for sure can resurrect these dead bones again. And it is so ironic that today, just 3 years after working to restore Morris Brown College, that we are here today, and we can say that Morris Brown made history as the first. I want everyone to say history. Everybody say history. As the first HBCU to make history by being fully restored with our full accreditation and our full financial aid once again. Thank you so much. So I am honored to be here to represent Bishop Gaines, who is buried right there, to honor the family, the Gaines family, to honor all of the faculty, the staff, the students, everyone who gave up their life for Morris Brown College. They never gave up on the institution. And Bishop Gaines, I know you're watching from heaven. Morris Brown College is back, and we will move the institution forward. So on behalf of the faculty, staff, students, alumni, board of trustees, everyone from Morris Brown College, I want to say congratulations to you, Mr. Harker. And thank you so much for allowing me to serve on the board here. And I'm so excited to get to work. So on behalf of everyone, including the board of trustees, welcome and congratulations. Thank you so much. Next up, we will have former First Lady Valerie Jackson. Please come to the stage. Thank you so much.
Well, good morning. I am so happy that my daughter Alexandra decided not to have her baby this morning. It's due any minute now, so that I would be able to be here and share this celebration with you on the restoration of the African American burial grounds. And Mr. Mayor, I am so happy to see you here, and we appreciate your support. I'm a board member also. I appreciate your support, and I just want to say, sir, you are doing a heck of a job, a good one. I know how difficult this job is because I was married to a man who did it 3 times. And Maynard often said, next to the presidency of the United States, being the mayor of a major American city is the toughest job in politics. So, sir, I commend you, and I take my hat off to you. No pun intended. Maybe a little one. Maybe a little one. The legacy of many of the African Americans buried here in Oakland is quite impressive. You heard some of the names previously. revealing great artists, business persons, and even bricks that carried the fingerprints of the convicts that made them in a local brick factory. This section in Oakland Cemetery contributes to the capacity to understand and appreciate the contributions and the the African American culture in Atlanta for well over a century. In addition to those mentioned earlier, we learn of Thomas Askew, a noted photographer whose portraits were included in W.E.B. Du Bois' album Types of American Negroes, which he compiled for the exhibit of American Negroes at the Exposition Universelle of 1900 in Paris. We also see the fingerprints of convict laborers left in bricks produced at the Chattahoochee Brick Company, founded by an Atlanta mayor, Mayor James English. And that brick company was also well known for its extensive use of convict lease labor, as noted in Doug Blackman's book, Slavery by Another Name. Hundreds of millions of bricks produced by African Americans at the brickworks are still in buildings and structures around the city today. Here in Oakland, there's even a walkway. I'm not sure in what direction to point right now, but a walkway that includes some of those bricks that still have the fingerprints of the convict laborers who worked on them. Tens of thousands of clay was pushed into rectangular shaped molds by these convict servants, convict lease labor rather, pushed into these molds, and a few of them even left their fingerprints and that weren't removed before they went into the kiln, into the oven. History is why I chose Oakland Cemetery as Maynard's permanent resting place. As mentioned, it's a sacred space that records a shared history of Atlanta, a teaching entity that provides educational tours for adults, schools, and other groups. The restoration of the African American burial grounds only begins to reveal some of the depth and contributions of Atlanta's African American community. From the fingerprints in the Chattahoochee bricks of Mayor James English to the 14-foot tall black granite obelisk of Maynard Jackson. And even though Maynard was not buried here in the African American section of Oakland Cemetery, he was the first African American to be buried in the previously segregated North Public Grounds, reflecting, even in death, his life work, crossing yet another color line at Oakland Cemetery. And I suspect the residents here in the African American grounds would be proud knowing that somehow they played a role in it. Thank you.
My name is Sam Reed. I'm the sexton/manager here at the cemetery. I am not a speaker. I don't like talking. I don't even know what I'm gonna say. My remarks are probably gonna be all over the place. It says Historic Oakland Foundation, but I am a city employee. I've been here as the sexton for 24 years. So I'm honored to have the mayor here, other members of the city council, my boss, Doug Voss, somewhere here. I don't know which way he went. But let me thank everyone for coming out and sharing in this wonderful celebration. I want to thank and piggyback on what Richard has said. This project here has been 5 years in the making and about $600,000. And we could not have done this without the foundation. You know, a lot of people have been pumping me up all week. I work with the foundation. They be a headache sometimes, you know. After 24 years, my hair was black when I first came here. But after dealing with a lot of board members, a lot of executive directors, it changed colors, you know. But it's been a wonderful project. It's been a wonderful 24 years. I'm going to probably be here another 3 or 4 years. Thank you all for coming out and sharing again in this wonderful celebration with the hundreds of volunteer hours that Richard mentioned, all of the donations, all of the corporations that have taken part in this. If I don't want to call names to Valerie, you know, I've been working with Valerie for a few years. I don't know what else to say. Big Belto, thank you. Thank you.
Hard to follow any of that, but thank you all so much for being here, and thank you, Sam, for your leadership here at Oakland over the last 25 years. It's really been amazing. We're going to cut the ribbon here in a second, but I'll note before we go that there are going to be, for those sticking around, some tours of the historic African American burial grounds.
All right, on the very first shot, we want scissors down in front of you, please. Scissors down. Down in front of you. Yeah, just a little bit. Down. Perfect. Where's Sam? Sam can hold as a side with, if you can hold on to this one. Oh, which one are you going to hold with her? She is prettier, I think. Okay, on my count, on the count of 3.
Everybody big smiles, looking straight ahead.
1, 2, and 3.
Perfect.
On the second shot, if you could be prepared for the cut, but not cut on this one, just preparing. All the scissors are up and toward the ribbon. Perfect.
Okay.
How are we
Big
looking?
smile straight ahead.
Where's my photographer? Same count. 1, 2, and 3.
Perfect.
I thought somebody was going to cut it.
Now this one we like to make a lot of fun, so guys, get ready for this power shot. This is the one that's the most fun, and I tell you, the faces on these pictures are often the best. So on this count, we are ready with the celebratory cut. 1, 2, and 3. Cut. Thank you all so much.
He taught me a lot in Cuba, actually. How to be a crazy. How to drink.
We'd like to invite everyone to take part in enjoying the refreshments, get something cool to drink, and make sure that you get something to eat. Can I get by you? Enjoy.
Yeah,
Good,
sure.
that's great, that's great. You know, helping you didn't just got here, you were in Savannah.
7 years ago,
And I started as a craftsman. Actually, I had to work on buildings. As I say.
Stand right here.